Hey guys, OGalbina here, bringing you guys our BBR Season 6 Week Number 1 battle against Galvanate and his New York Noibats. This is Nate's return to draft, our return to the BBR, ready to take back a championship this season. So if you are ready and excited for this week's BBR matchup, be sure to drop a like on the video as well as subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 3,000 subs, and I'd appreciate a ton if you help me out along that journey. And that being said, we're going to just kind of jump right into it. Now, I do like to do these quick little team builders beforehand, just to give you context of what we're bringing, why we're bringing it, so you got the background knowledge going into the battle. If you do want to skip ahead to the battle, there's a timestamp right over there, as well as in the description below, if you want to go ahead and just skip ahead to the battle. And yeah, so we're not really quick. We're also not doing separate team builder videos this season just because we have WPF going up on Fridays, and that's a lot, and back to back it's weird, and I don't like doing it 2 days before because I feel like that's just kind of a weird gap in between. So no separate team builder videos this season at the very least, unless you guys are very, very adamant about having them back. But yeah, that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. Our team, if you did forget, is at the top of the screen, right? Again, that way. And it consists of Chien-Pao, Terra Ground and Fairy Enamorus, Glamora, Corviknight, Slitherwing, Alomomola, Mudsdale, Goodra, Rotom-Moat, and Typhlosion, Hisui, while our opponent's team at the bottom of the screen, that's an easy one. And it consists of Great Tusk, Pelipper, Terra, Fairy, and Dark Kingambit, Gardevoir, Noivern, Basculegion Female, Electrode Hisui, Big Trode Baby, Dreadnought, Overqwil, Tornadus, Incarnate, and Farigiraf. Now, biggest threats to our team, I actually think we have an incredible matchup. We'll talk about that more when we talk about my Pokemon. There's really only a few things that really just do worry me. First up is going to be Great Tusk. I think I have good switches to just standard conventional offensive Great Tusk, but Choice Band really does worry me because it has the potential to 2-hit KO everything on my team if it clicks the right move or OHKO it. And close combat's very free against me because my fighting type pivots and like Enamorus and Typhlosion get blown up by a Choice Band or by any other attack. So I have to be very careful about that. The Noivern can be a little bit annoying just because my Spadef pivot and Goodra isn't really a great pivot in a Noivern just because of the Draco stab, and my Corviknight's forced into a Fizdef roll this week. Same thing with the Tornadus Eye, but Goodra checks that much better. Then other rain threats like Basculegion can get out of hand. The the Dreadnought can get very scary if it like Shell Smashes or Swords Dances under the rain. And then Gardevoir really scares me because they don't have a good pivot into its dual stabs outside of Corvi. Corvi, like I said, is going to be Fizdef this week, so it's one T-Bolt or Trick away from us potentially losing the game. So I got to be careful about that. The biggest threat by far, though, the only thing that really, really worries me is going to be Terra Dark Kingambit, which seems odd, but Dark is a lot like fighting against our team in the sense that our pivots into Dark, at least that we're bringing this week, don't appreciate taking Dark moves. Pow and Enamorus, once it gets Terra Darked up and there's a few things dead because of Supreme Overlord and it gets up to +2, those Sucker Punches are going to blow me ass backwards. And my potential like conventional checks, this thing like Slitherwing and Mudsdale, are really bad in this matchup and are borderline unbringable, so I'm not bringing them. So we're gonna have to our work cut out first when it comes to that. That being said, we can jump into our first Pokemon, our lead and by far the best Pokemon in this matchup. Big Choice Specs Enamorus with Moonblast, Healing Wish, Earth Power, and Spring Tide Storm. EV-wise, we have 84 defense, 212 special attack, and 212 speed with a modest nature. This thing is an absolute monster in this matchup. If you look at Nate's team, he simply doesn't have a fairy resist. So the Pokemon that can take a hit from this thing from full is Kingambit is a roll if it's max HP. If it's AV, it can take a hit. AV Gardevoir can take a hit. And AV Overqwil and like Spadef or like bulky-ish Farigiraf. It has to have Spadef in it. Those things can take a hit. Everything else is O-code. Kingambit is a roll from full in my favor. Gardevoir dies from full if it's offensive. Overqwil dies from full if it's offensive. And max HP Farigiraf also drops to modest Moonblast. Springside Storm is simply there if I'm in a situation where I don't know the Kingambit spread. It's a little bit bulkier. And it hasn't, Terra Darked or anything like that. Springtide Storm gives me a guaranteed OHKO on max HP. I don't think I will ever click anything other than Moonblast this game. It is simply in like very niche, weird scenarios. Maybe a Call Minded up for a graph when you do more damage to it. Moonblast is going to be what we click. This is going to be our guaranteed lead in this game because there are so many things that we lead well into, particularly if he decides to lead with his rain, which a lot of weather teams typically end up doing. That Pelipper is going to die. Max Spadef Pelipper just gets absolutely blown up by this, so I'm very excited for Enamorus. I think Choice Specs is going to just absolutely kill everything on his team if he doesn't position correctly, and that's hopefully what we'll take advantage of with this build going forward. Next up, we have Chien-Pao, rocking out with Heavy Duty Boots, Crunch, Sucker Punch, Ice Shard, Ice Spinner, with 32 HP, max attack, 24 defense, and 200 speed, with an Adamant nature. Now, I know I'm no Sacred Sword in the King Gambit matchup. You might be asking, why are we no Sacred Sword? Because of the prospect of him potentially being Terra Fairy, I can never see myself justifiably clicking Sacred Sword. I think that Ice Spinner is much better neutral ground, especially even if he Terra Darks. Might not have that Sacred Sword coverage anymore, but I can at least hit it in that way. I want a reliable way of hitting Great Tusk and nuking through that thing. And I needed the dual priority in my opinion, plus crunch. I really felt like I needed Ice Shard for things like a rapid spun up Great Tusk. I needed it for a Noivern to just nuke it that way. Torn Eye if it gets agilityed up for some reason. Hisui and Electrode. But I also wanted Sucker Punch for the likes of Gardevoir. Ice Shard also hits Gardevoir, but for Basculegion Under the Rain, for Dreadnought Under the Rain, for things like that. I like the Sucker Punch option. We can go Adamant in this matchup, which is really, really cool, and this thing has no switches outside of Gambit, but even if Gambit comes in and takes a resisted Adamant, Crunch, or Ice Spinner, that's great for me, because then I just get to go into my check, I get guaranteed chip on it, and that's always really good, because chipping that thing down and putting in range of other things on our team can be great. Guarantee puts in range of Enamorus as well, which is also very, very nice. Next up, we have said King Gambit check in Rocky Helmet, Fizdef, Corviknight, or max HP, max defense with a impish nature. Yeah, impish. Brave Bird, Iron Defense, Body Press, and Roost. Now, originally I had U-turn on this guy in order to grab momentum and grab free switches. Again, if we're forcing in things like maybe a Pelipper wants to come in, maybe, an aggressive Noivern wants to come in, an aggressive Hisui Electrode, I can grab U-turn, get momentum, get into my Enamorus, kill something. And that's kind of the plan. But unfortunately, I was running mocks, and the only mocks in which I was losing was because Terra Dark King Gambit was blowing me up. So Iron Defense is going to allow me to boost my defense alongside potential Sword Stances and make that Body Press very, very strong. Even if it is Terra Fairy, we have Brave Bird as a neutral click against it, and if we're boosting our defense, it's not going to be able to break through us, especially without that dark boost to its stab. Neutral Kowtow Cleaves, basically, if we're boosting alongside it, are not going to be doing that much, plus the Rocky Helmet is going to be chipping it down. There's also a solid pivot into non-choice Great Tusk, or choice Great Tusk into, Headlong Rush, as well as things like Overquill. It beats Overquill very easy as well, and can be a really good win con in the end game depending on what's left and what special attackers are existing and on my opponent's team. So big Corviknight hopefully doing well here. Next up, I have Basculegion, the ultimate pivot in this game. Liquidation Wish, Baton Pass, and Protect. 136 HP, max defense, and 120 Spadef with a relaxed nature. Sorry, my team builder slides are a little bit all over the place right now. I'm kind of messing up some things on them. But what is this thing here for? It's here for all of that rain, man. It really pivots into a lot. It pivots into things like Pelipper very well. I can punish it for U-turning with, the Rocky Helmet, or I can come in, take a Hurricane, take another one, Baton Pass out, get into Enamorus, bam, kill. And that's why we're minus speed, and, negative speed and 0 speed IVs, so that we can get the slowest Baton Passes humanly possible. This thing also pivots into Pokemon like Overquill, Dreadnought, Basculegion, and even King Gambit in a pinch. We can take a hit from them, Baton Pass out, get into a more apt threat. That's going to be this thing's job. It's also going to be great at wishing up other Pokemon on our team. Something like a Hisui Electric could potentially come in and take advantage of this, but what I can do with Aloe is I can throw a Wish into my Pokemon that checks Hisui Electro, which we'll talk about in a little bit here, and get it back up nice and healthy and exert some offensive pressure. So I like that aspect of this thing a lot. It really keeps my Spadef wall in this game really healthy, and it serves as a great pivot into our offense. So I'm actually excited for Aloe this week. I think it's going to do really well. Next up, we have, we have our Spadef pivot in all these threats here in Goodra. We're Assault Vest with Draco Meteor, Thunder, Focus Blast, and Sludge Bomb. 248 HP, 48 defense, 40 special attack, 112 Spadef, and 60 speed with a careful nature. Careful. This thing is going to be our main pivot into things like Basculegion, into things like Tornadus, even things like Farigiraf we can take hits from very, very well. Even things like Gardevoir. Gardevoir won't be 2-hit KOing us unless it's a boosting item with his Moonblast, which is also very, very funny to see. It's actually hilarious for me. But this thing's going to be a great pivot into those special attackers that might give us a little bit of trouble. It's also going to take Basculegion, whether it's physical or special, we should be able to take 2 hits from him unless it's like Choice Band or something like that. But even then, there's not a lot of moves that can really neutrally click and do a lot of damage to us. And if it's physical, I know that things like Basculegion, or I know that things like Alomola can check it very, very well, which is obviously really, really cool. But yeah, has great coverage overall as well. Focus Blast to hit things like King Gambit super effectively, whether they decide to Terra, or into Terra Dark, or stay normal. Sludge Bomb hits the Fairy as well as hits the Gardevoir, and then Draco Meteor Thunder hits everything else very, very hard, and it's, very solid in this matchup. Then we have our Glimmora last. Our Gardevoir pivot, funny enough, which is pretty darn funny. We are Power Gem, Energy Ball, Earth Power, and Sludge Wave. Max special attack, 8 Spadef, and 248 speed with Timid Nature. Week 1, and we're already seeing what I talked about in the draft analysis, is how good offensively Gilmore can be. If you look at this opposing team, it hits it incredibly hard. Energy Ball for Great Tusk, Power Gem for Pelipper, Earth Power for King Gambit / Sludge Wave when it Terras, Sludge Wave for Guardy, Power Gem for Noivern, Energy Ball for Basculegion, Sludge Wave for the Hisui Electrode, Energy Ball for the Dreadnought, Earth Power for the Overquill, Power Gem for the Torn, and Sludge Wave for the Farigiraf. It's not really easily pivoted into on this team. Now, obviously, the rain is going to outpace us and really scare us, but if rain isn't up, that's fine. And we are Pyappa Berry in this game in order to pivot into the Gardevoir Moonblast, take a hit, and either force it out or find out if it's Scarf. If it wants to click Moonblast into Psychic, because it's like an Assault Vest set, to take a hit from Enamorus, and it decides to use that lure on us, or in case it's like a, what do you call it set? Why am I blanking on the berry? Kebia Berry set. We can always take the hit from Moonblast into Psychic and blow it up. If it clicks Psychic on our switch in, we can always live a hit there and either reset offensively and force that thing out, or figure out if it's Scarf if it wants to stay in, which is also very, very valuable information. Toxic Debris can also come up clutch if Overcooked decides to not come, or, you know, is dead or something like that. So, yeah, that is going to be our team for week number 1. I think it's a great squad. I'm really happy with the build. Big shouts to everybody that helped me build and mock this week. I appreciate it a ton. And big shouts to this month's channel members, because I forgot to shout out at the end of the battle. We have Olivia Sama, D-Double, Odds Are, Zeke, Big Mouth, and Goosefart. Appreciate y'all a ton. If you want to become a member, there's a little join button down there. It helps me out a ton. You get some pretty cool perks and things like that. And yeah, that being said, let's jump into the battle. Alrighty guys, here we are with the battle. We are connected with Nate. Let's see what he ended up bringing. We see a Electrode Hisui, which is not Terra, so good to know. We see a Basculegion female. We see a Great Tusk. We see a Pelipper. We see a Farigiraf. And we see a King Gambit. So it looks like we don't have to deal with the Overquill Spikes, which is really, really nice for me. I'm going to stick with my game plan. I'm leading off with the Enamorus. If I see a Scarf lead from either the... or if I see a lead from either Pelipper or the Great Tusk, I do have to pivot out because of the fact that they can be Scarf. Modest Hydro Pump can kill me from Scarf. And Scarf Heavy Slam obviously blows me the hell up from Great Tusk. So I need to pivot out on those things and be careful. It also looks like my Corviknight does really well once that Electro goes down. I'm expecting a Hisui Electrode lead, and if that's the case, I can just Terra and Moonblast. Nothing that thing can do can kill me. Yeah. And so I just Terra and I Moonblast. No reason not to. I get to pick one. I get to pick one. And we'll go from there. You will go from there. Ooh, I'm nervous. First game of the season, I always have the absolute jitters, dude. I'm always terrified. My leg's shaking. You don't get to see it, but my leg is bouncing right now. My leg is bouncing right now. So we'll see. Hopefully we can start off turn 1 KO to start off the season. We will see. Volt Switch should never kill me. We are going to Terra our first turn of the season. Big Enamorus. Let's see it. If this thing Thunderbolts or Leaf Storms, I should be fine. Leaf Storm would also be an insane call. We should get a KO here, though. Volt Switch. We live Specs. That is not Specs. Great to know. Now, we do die to a Leaf Storm from here, obviously. But this is a KO. There's nothing on his team that can switch into this move. Everything dies. Everything dies minus maybe a max HP King Gambit. And that's the greatest trade of all time for me. The greatest trade of all time. So, we'll take it. Oh my god, get blown up! Get blown up! Get blown up! Good night! Good night! Wait, this is amazing for me! Bam! Let's go, baby! Okay, we knock out the Gambit. Turn 1, the biggest threat to our team is just gone. Oh my goodness! Huge! Just an Oko! Just an Oko, god. Oh my goodness. Now, there's also the freest Draco Meteors of all time, the rest of this game. There's no Gardevoir. So we just click Draco. There's no guard. Guard cooked me too. Scarf Guard went crazy into me. Now, if the Trope comes back out, we gotta switch out. We're gonna go Goodra on a Leaf Storm potentially. And And really, that's his only option. Rigorap. I mean, I feel like I just take my damage on this. I'm just gonna Specs Moonblast. If this is offensive, it dies. If it's not offensive, it doesn't kill me. I kill max HP. Oh my gosh, what a demon. Let's go! Dude, Enamorus, just kill every Pokemon. Do your thing, brother. Switching is for the weak. Leftovers? Okay. I was scared of a Salac Berry a little bit. We're good. Let's go, baby! Give me one. I want another one. Let's go, dude! Holy moly! Let's go! Dude, just the Enamorus is cooking. Oh my goodness. Lead and get 2? Are you kidding me? Let's go! Oh, that feels good. A very distinct advantage. Turn 2. Or I guess it's turn 3 now, because it was a 2-hit KO. But like, that had to be offensive to kill me, and if it was max special attack, modest, it died if it was max HP. Like, I'm looking at the calc, Moonblast is 102 minimum to max HP for Rigorap. Trout comes out. I mean, we saved this. He's showing me he's not Scarf Tusk, too. Otherwise, I feel that would have come out. We're just gonna go into Trode. Or, Goodra. Goodra also smashes this team right now. Floor Blast. Wait, this Pokemon's like dead now. Let's go! I just Draco here? There's no setup potential on this team. I could just Sludge Bomb as well. Not just Draco. I'm just dropping one. On. I mean, that's fine. This thing goes. Wait, pick it off. Kinda wish I Sludge Bombed there, but I mean, Goodra gets one. I mean, what do we see here? Do we see Pelipper? I might honestly make a very aggressive Enamorus play. Very test. Okay. That's fine. I'm pretty sure we always just go Corvi, right? We always just go Corvi. Ain't no reason not to. Sick. I mean, we just Iron Defense here. If we see a Pelipper pivot immediately, we just switch. He's gonna switch. Okay. And then, like, I can make that double and I can call it, but, like, at the same time, I don't really need to. We gotta keep track of Damp Rock turns. What we always do is we always go into Alomomola, and we always just Baton Pass. This thing can't stop it, you know? We can chip it down, too. Like we always Baton Pass on everything. That's the cool thing. Because nothing really immediately threatens us. Let's get off the Baton Pass. If he surfs again... Okay, so he's not, what do you call it? So we just get off this Baton Pass. We get out of there. And let's go, baby. And I pick me one. The big Enamorus. We know it's not Scarf now. I guess it could be Sash, but I mean, that's good to know for me. Just click Moonblast. We know it's not Scarf. Pick another one. Good night, Pelipper. Wow. Enamorus is gonna have fun this season, guys. Holy moly. Holy moly. This, ladies and gentlemen, is why we draft a Fairy Resist. Legion comes out. I mean, I always go Goodra. There's, what do you call it up? as well, so we don't have to worry about, there's rain up, so we don't have to worry about being frozen by Ice Beam. Because the major reason that I didn't go Sap Sipper for the Electrode is because I really wanted to have some kind of contingency against status on my Goodra, because it is such a good wall and pivot into this thing. Wait, Crash. Just gonna... It does do a lot. Okay. But I have no reason to save this. I just drop a Thunder. Yeah. I mean, this thing's Life Orb, too. The rain's gonna stop. No more rain the rest of the game. And we just drop a Thunder, yeah? And we could also just Draco. Draco seems free. I'm gonna just Wave Crash. Oh, it just knocked me out. Is that a crit? That was a crit. On 4. Female. Legion. Female. Life Orb. Not in the rain. Aqua Jet does not kill us from here. We are at 97. So I think I get saved the most drift by just going Bone Clay. And clicking a button. If it is Scarf Tusk, it does not matter. We are good. So we're just gonna click Moonblast. And I think we should wrap this up 5-0. And this was the Enamorus game. The debut, baby. The debut, baby. We live this. We live crit. Yeah, we live crit, so we're good. And that should be game unless it's Scarf Tusk. But I'm not going to mess around with it in case it is like bulk up and I switch out and being Scarf trying to save diff. It's week 1. You know, I don't need to do that. If it's not, then it just gets blown the fuck up. I mean, Assault Vest gets blown up, dude. Like, Assault Vest just dies. Let's check. Assault Vest to my Terra Fairy Enamorus. It takes, oh, 200%. So, unless this thing is Scarf, and even if it's Roselli Berry, it just dies. So, yeah, Roselli takes 152. So, unless this is Sash, we win the game right here. Big Enamorus picking up 5. Nice little 5-piece for Enamorus. We pick up a nice 5-0 win week 1 against Nate. Definitely a tough one for him to come back to. Like, matchup-wise, this was brutal. I mean, Enamorus just 6-0'd him. I sent out, like, 3 Pokemon just because Enamorus simply did not have counterplay in this matchup. I do feel bad. I think that he needed to bring something like a Scarf Guard, maybe a bulkier Gambit, but even then, once he Terra'd, it went down. I think sacking the Gambit, too, also made it to where I wasn't really worried about losing to anything throughout this game. Maybe, again, the thing was bring Scarf Guard over something like Farigiraf. Other than that, I think what he brought made sense. It was just a tough matchup, man. It was a really tough one. So, GG's to Nate. Definitely go check him out in the description below. I'm sure you know who Nate is, though, if you're watching my videos and you've been around Draft League for a long time. But he's a really, really nice guy. And, yeah, nice one. Nice week 1 win there. That one definitely felt good. I'm happy to be back, and hopefully more of these to, you know, be reflected in the future. But, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.